I'm Charlie at BTLines, and today I am interviewing the author of Instrument for Florenda. Hello.
Hey, Charlie. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It is an honor to be here. My name is Tomeko Brown, and I am the author of the juvenile fiction early chapter book, An Instrument for Florenda.
Like in my other interviews, I will ask a few questions. How much of this book is based on your experiences?
Oh, wow. Probably, I would say fifth. Ooh, that's a good question. About almost the entire, not the entire, I would say maybe 90% of it, because I actually played the clarinet myself when I was a child. So a lot of the experiences that I had playing the clarinet for the very first time, the school I was going to, it was our very first band class that the school had had. So I was one of the first kids, just for Blender, learning to play an instrument for the first time, being in front of an audience for the first time. So I took a lot of that experience I had as a child, learning something new, the challenges of learning something new, comparing myself to the other kids in the band class because they like, wow, they could play better. So I would say about 90% of the book is actually from my own experiences of playing the clarinet in the band for the very first time as a child.
So, music is a very important topic in this book. How did this influence your life before and after you wrote it?
Before I wrote the book, the influence it had, I worked with kids in the public school system before. I've had a background of working in healthcare, so I worked with people from various ages and various stages of their life. So the book really was inspiration even for me as I was writing, putting the words together, because it brought back such great memories I had about playing the instrument and learning stuff. But it also brought back those memories of, wow, the challenges I had, especially looking at it from my experience as a kid and after working with kids, looking at it from their experience on how we all face challenges differently, but we do find ourselves sometimes comparing ourselves to other people. So it was really like an inspiration, putting the pen to the paper and writing those words. Even it kind of touched me as an adult. And then the influence after the book was written, it's things like this, the people I have met around the world, knowing the reviews that I get, especially from kids saying how, wow, I remember if they didn't even play an instrument, but I remember having challenges because I wanted to learn something new. But they sharing the fact that they overcame it. So to me, the book itself, I look at it not just being a chapter book, but almost as an experience where other kids can see themselves in Florenda. Inspirational as a heartwarming, and just like I said, the influence after the book, getting a chance to meet so many people, to like yourself, you talk to so many people and discuss the book, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Being an author, that's one of the best things I can say about writing a book is being able to connect with so many different people.
I showed this book to my sister, and she plays the ukulele and the piano and the recorder. And she's
Mhm.
like, "My recorder broke, and my mom got me a new one." She was so happy that that other people were struggling with this music, but still got to like, perform and
Mhm.
so just show it off.
Exactly, Charlotte. Yes, that to see them persevere, push through the challenge, and even if something happens to the point they're like, will I be able to continue to play? And to see them overcome the challenge and be a success in it. That's always the greatest.
If you could learn any other instrument than a clarinet, because you said that you played the clarinet, if you have played any other instrument, what has it been? And if you could play another one, what would it be?
Well, I haven't played anything outside of the clarinet, but my second choice would be the violin. I love the violin because it's so smooth. It's just it to me, it's captivating. It brings you almost into another realm because you think about an orchestra and you hear the cellos and you hear the violins all in one. I'm a mom, and that's the instrument my daughter decided to play. She's an orchestra in high school. So, but to hear, I love the arts. I love music because just to hear those sounds just come together. And it's just something about the violin. It's just so classical. It's so smooth. And I love to just really just listen to the instrumental, someone playing a violin. Yes, that would probably be the instrument I would want to learn how to play. But I get the joy out of watching my daughter learn to play it. So
That's so cute. So I found this book really short and sweet. That's what I was thinking about it. I was always like so tiny but so captivating. And what was your like writing process? And also if you could add a chapter, how would you do it? Would it be another chapter about the experience after Florenda's winter concert, or would it be some in between?
I think I would, if I was to go back and add it, my initial vision was an early chapter book, because like I said, I did work in the school system before. So I saw where some kids, they get overwhelmed with those thick middle grade. So this was something that would allow those transitional readers, you kind of read at their pace. And also with the short chapters, they would see success while they're reading. So it wouldn't overwhelm them. But if I would go back to do it, I think I would add, based on some of the reviews, especially from the older kids that have read it, they want to know more backstory. They wanted to learn more about her friends, Nate and Lily in the book. So I think if I was to, do it over again, I probably would add a little bit more just about her friendships, how she became close friends with Nate and Lily, and to give just a little bit more backstory. Just based on the reviews have been really helping me because I do want to actually do another spin-off from it to take her a little bit further as another edition. So just reading some of the reviews and from the like I said from kids that are older that may picked up the book. But I want to know more about her friends, more about her life. So yeah, so I would definitely go back and probably add in, expand it just a little bit more to give them that backstory. Great question.
Are Nate and Lily based on real people?
No, they are actually fictional characters. They are actual fictional characters. But I wanted to give her those close friendships that they're going to help push her forward. They're the ones that's going to be there. We got this, we have this together. We're your friends. They're the ones that when her mom say, Florenda, it's time for you to go outside and play in one of the chapters. They're riding the bike. They're her neighborhood, her community. And that was the whole sense around, friends was showing other kids, they're your community. Those are the friends they're going to be there for you in your ups and your downs. And that's the relationship Miranda has with her friends Nate and Lily.
What about Mr. and Mrs. Lyles? Are they?
They are actually fictional characters, but Mr. Lyles is a retired Army veteran. I actually I actually grew up kind of in the military or Army environment. My brother is Army, and I had two uncles that retired from the military. So they were the heart of the community. So I wanted to make them something special about them. So I tied a little bit, well, I'm going to tie in some of the armed forces. I'm going to make Mr. Lyles, he's the one you probably see in your community that sits on the front porch, that has the wisdom. The retired Army veteran has seen the world. All the kids gravitate towards, but with them being fictional characters. But then I wanted to make Mrs. Lyles the calm, gentle person. Yes, but they're both fictional characters and just based on maybe a little bit of the experience pulling out from my home environment and then just adding a little twist to things.
That's so cute, especially if the kids are drawn to them. So, Florenda never gave up on her dream. What advice would you give to kids who read this book who have the same experience, maybe not with music, with acting, or just in life general? What advice would you give them?
Persevere. Perseverance. Even as adults, we find ourselves needing to persevere in things, especially when it comes to learning something new or actually relearning something. Because I give you an example, I'm actually trying to relearn how to play the clarinet. And I haven't played the clarinet in years. Years. So, and this is it's so funny because I was like, well, one time I was able to read music. I was able to play the clarinet just with a breeze. But now, when I took my first trial lesson, my instructor told me the only thing I want you to work on is blowing through the mouthpiece. It's like, but it was so funny because I was like, I have to go back to the basics to relearn how to position my tongue. So it's going to require me to persevere, to keep going, even when I get the notes and the sounds mixed up. So that's the advice I give to kids, irregardless of what challenge you may face and whatever you're trying to do. Always remember you can do it. There may be some challenges there, but you will get there. It's to keep going. And don't allow anyone to tell you you can't do it because you can. I believe that when you really put your mind and you set your heart to it, you can do anything. And that's what I do strongly believe. My quote is the sounds of today is tomorrow's inspiration. And we are our sound. We are sound. We're sound not like the music make, but we're that sound. So when we go out and we do something, we're inspiring others that they can do something. And the steps that we make, like your podcast, people, other kids will look at you like, wow, Charlie, she did it. So I can do it as well. So that's what our sound is. We are always making noise. We're making that positive noise to inspire other people. And that will inspire other people in days and years ahead. That's my words to other kids. Just keep going, keep persevering. Have that determination.
I really loved your quote. It's so true. Some quotes can be a little on the silly side, but I love your quote. It was so good.
Thank you.
When I read the dedication and the front of the book, I was like, wow, I really like that. I'm going to use that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So these ones are a little bit more like silly because
Okay.
I've gotten past the harder ones. So on the music track, if Florenda had a soundtrack, what music would be on it?
Hey. Oh, I'm so glad you said it. Let me see if this is the one I have it written down. I do have. I actually made a soundtrack. Let me see if this. It is. This is the copy that has the track on it. So the first chapter would be we have the soundtrack "Happy" by Pharrell. We would move on to the second chapter. You can count on me by Bruno Mars. We move to the third chapter. It's "Can't Stop the Feeling," and that's the Kid Bop version. We move on to the fourth. It's the Fight Song by Rachel.
Oh my
I think
God.
it's Rachel Pelton, the Fight Song. And then the fifth, it would be The Best Day of My Life. It would be the Kid Bop's version. Chapter six placement would be Fireworks. It's the Kid Bop version, Fireworks. And then I'm gonna skip down because I couldn't think of anything that came to chapter seven, the big announcement. So we'll skip down to chapter eight. It would be Ride, and it's the Kid Bop's version. But I stumbled upon that just doing a Google search, and I was like, I like that. Yeah, I can't remember exactly who it's by, but it's called Ride. Let's do Ride Kids Bop. And then Improvement, of course, would be Brave by Sarah Bareilles.
Hmm.
And then we have Unstoppable, of course. Then we move on to The Climb by Miley Cyrus. I used to love Miley Cyrus, actually. And then finally, we have A Million Dreams by Pink. And I love that song. So it's so funny you asked that question because I actually posted that on my Instagram. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, there are so many songs. So I sat down one night, I was like, well, I'm gonna come up with a playlist of songs that I like that would be fitting for each chapter. And it's so funny that you asked that question because yes, I had did my own playlist. But
Can
yeah,
I
that was good. Yeah, I posted on my Instagram. If I could make a playlist for the book, this would be the songs that would capture each chapter of that book.
Here's a more general one. Who's your favorite character besides Florenda?
Wow, my favorite besides Florenda.
Or your favorite person to write about?
Wow, that's a hard one because there's so many. I think I think my favorites. outside of Florenda would probably be, can I have two? Can I choose two? I think it would probably be the Laos. Of course, your mom is there for her. But then when you bring in the Laos, that shows kids how important community is. And sometimes they may have to look outside of their home to find their community. It could be a teacher or their neighbor or a friend or a cousin or a whoever. So that's the reason I picked the Laos because the Laos bring in that community they're also Florenda's support. And when you read the book, you will learn how important the Laos do help Florenda to get through her goal as to learning to play the clarinet. And that's a really important piece to me because growing up, community was something that was very important, and that's something that I saw. I actually did an interview with George Raleigh because I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it was a local media interview. And also growing up, I was about, I want to say 8 years old, and we lost our home to a fire. It was like a week after Christmas. And that's something I would never forget because our home burnt down. Here I am, 8 years old, and watching. I remember my neighbor, we were staying at my neighbor's house, and here I was just watching my home just down to the ground, lost everything. But at the same time, at 8 years old, I saw community. So since during the rebuild, we went and lived with my uncle. And just to see people that we did not know stop by and say, it's some food, here's clothes, here's toys. Because at the time it was myself and I have a brother. He was probably about I was probably about 8 and he was very young. I'm the oldest. But just to witness the importance of community, that's something I really wanted to tie in. That's where the Laos step in. They showed her help a challenge of her learning to play the clarinet, her mom. And they play a big piece in her developing, throughout experience in the band for the first time. So yes, that's something I really wanted to tie in was that community piece. So they would be my favorite outside of Florida.
Yeah, Lyles reminded me so much of my grandparents on my mom's side. My grandpa's like this force of nature that
Mhm.
takes us hiking every day, and my grandma's like, okay, we're gonna bake cookies today instead.
You're making me so happy right now. Just to hear you say there were so many pieces that you could connect to, especially as a young child, that this is awesome. Like I said, that's the reason what makes me keep writing. It's just the hearing things, especially from a kid that has read the book and can connect with so many different angles and so many different levels. That's what does my heart joy. That's what.
I love what you said about like kind of like community. You had your first copies. Was there anybody special you sent them out to?
It was my best friend. I sent her one. I signed, of course, family. Sent her a copy. Well, actually, she brought a copy. She purchased a copy. I had some more for the family that actually stepped in. I actually signed one and sent one off to my best friend who has been my best friend ever since college. She's been a big part. She was my like Lily to Florenda. Was my do this. Yeah, go Lord. So yes, and then outside of family, there's been the huge support, and read and offer feedback and things. Yes. So
I was so happy when I got a signed copy because that's actually the first signed copy that I was sent ever.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was so pleased. I'm grateful for every opportunity when someone give me a chance to talk about my book, to introduce myself, to the world. I am always grateful. And out of that grateful, it may not be much, but yes, my signature on the signed copy is my way of saying thank you. I really do appreciate the opportunity.
I can't wait because what I do is I take the books that I get sent, I donate them to a library.
Also,
so special that now that library can have a signed copy.
also, that's awesome. So it would touch some other kid that would yeah be able to pick it up and read it. That's awesome.
I'm so grateful I got to talk to you today. Is there anything you would like to say before we sign off?
Would like to give my not email, but my website. Anybody wants to go and learn more about me, learn more about the book, but with things that I'm currently working on. I have just actually submitted. I'm in the query trenches like other authors. I've submitted a picture book manuscript. I'm pitching that currently, so hopefully. Fingers crossed. Something will come out of that. But my website is Tomeko, Tomeko, Brown, BROWN.com. Very easy, but you can find out more things about what I've done, more interviews, actually be able to see this interview because most interviews I've done, the podcast, I link them on my website to go back to the original one, so us can enjoy these interviews. But yes, please check out my website and you can learn more.
And this interview will also be on my website too.
Great,
Thank
great. Thank you.
you so much, Miko. Thank you.
Absolutely.